Hello, my name is Jeff Duggan and I'm a psychologist from the Bath Centre for Pain Services. And this is a video looking at the Hot Cross Bun tool. And this tool can be used to increase our awareness and our understanding of what's going on for us and why we might be struggling at times. Crucially, when things are difficult, it's not just kind of what's going on out there that can be a problem, but it's also our responses to that internally. So that includes things like thoughts, emotions, and body sensations. So this video follows on from my previous video describing the tool. So if you haven't already looked at that, it probably makes sense to check that one out first before watching this. All right, so here's the Hot Cross Bun that I completed in the first video. And the first thing I'd like to draw your attention to is the kind of connections between each of these four boxes. So if you look at these initial thoughts, such as, oh, this could be fun, how do you do it? That kind of leads naturally to emotions such as excitement and curiosity. Then here we've got the emotion of anxiety, and that leads down naturally to body sensations such as increased heart rate and hotness within the body. And then if you follow that, that kind of leads back up to thoughts such as I might look stupid and that sort of thing. And then that leads down to actions such as avoid it and just put things off. Yeah. So I could go on, but the point I'm trying to make is that basically all of these boxes link to each other. And these links are bidirectional. Okay, they kind of go both ways, actually, I would argue, right? Now, this is really, really important, I think. To understand why it's important, it helps to think about which of these boxes we've actually got control over. So which of these four boxes can we control? So if we start with thoughts, then I guess the question is, do we have control over our thoughts? Yeah. So perhaps the best way to do that is to think about that is to do an experiment. All right. So if you kind of bear with me for a moment, let's try one out. Okay. So what I want you to do right now is when I say so, just follow my instructions. And what I'd like you to do is to not think about chocolate cake. Okay. You ready? All right. Ready, steady, go. Okay, so whatever you do, don't think about chocolate cake, all right? So, did you think about chocolate cake? Most people do. And if you didn't, I suspect maybe you had some kind of strategy about thinking and focusing really, really hard on something else to kind of distract yourself from it, yeah? However, I predict that if we'd carried on with that experiment for about an hour or so, then at some point chocolate cake might have kind of sneaked in and you might have started thinking about it, yeah? Okay. But like that was the whole point. All you had to do was just not think about chocolate cake. And yet maybe you did, and you probably would have if it gone on for longer. So what's all that about? Yeah. So this is just like a fun example, this chocolate cake, right? Yeah. However, unfortunately, everybody has lots of less pleasant thoughts that they'd really rather not have. And they desperately try not to think of these things. But unfortunately, the same sorts of things can happen, basically. Because we don't want to have these things, we try not to think about them. And actually, bizarrely, just like the chocolate cake, we end up thinking about them. Yeah? So I would argue that we don't have complete control over our thoughts. How about the others? So if we look at emotions, do we have control over our emotions? Well, let's say you're feeling kind of really sad after something really bad that's happened. Can you just suddenly stop feeling sad? I don't think so. I certainly can't anyway. Body sensations. Have we got control over them? Imagine you're in loads of pain for like a really good reason, yeah? Can you stop feeling pain? I don't think so either. So I would argue we don't have any control over, we don't have complete control over our thoughts, emotions, body sensations. How about actions? Now that's a bit different actually, yeah? If I want to pick up the pen, I can pick up the pen. So we can control our actions. This is where the links between the different bits of the Hot Cross Bun become really important. Basically, if you change one bit, and because it links into the others, it has an impact on all the other different bits. Yeah. Now, lots of people know about vicious circles. So, for example, let's say you're feeling a little bit anxious about going outside.
You may then decide not to go outside, but then subsequently you can have lots of self-critical thoughts, kind of beating yourself up for not going outside. And then this could lead to low mood, all the stuff you've kind of missed out on, and you just feel really kind of rubbish. And then next time you want to go outside, it might kind of feel a little bit harder. That anxiety might go up more, so of course you don't go out again, and so on and so forth. Basically what happens is a small change in your behaviour kind of escalates and leads to quite a big problem. Right? So people know about vicious circles, but they don't tend to know so much about virtuous circles, which is exactly the same thing, but it goes the other way. All right? So let's pretend that you're feeling a bit anxious about going outside, but this time you choose to go outside. All right? Now don't get me wrong, you'll still feel anxious when you go out there, but maybe subsequently you might kind of not beat yourself up quite so much. Maybe we won't have quite so much of that low mood. And crucially, next time it might be a little bit easier. Still be tricky, but it'll be a little bit easier. And so maybe you go for it again, and so on and so forth. And what happens then over time is exactly the same process kind of links in, and it spirals up this time. Crucially, it all stems from the fact that the different sections of the hot cross bun are all linked together. And the really important point is that the action is the only one we've got control over, the only one where we can kind of turn it around and make it go the way we want. So, one of the consequences of all this is it's really important to try and do stuff, do things that are important to us, even when we're struggling with difficult thoughts and difficult emotions. And I guess the hope is that if we keep doing what's important to us, that will filter into the other elements of the hot cross bun. Okay, so that's it for this video. Thanks a lot for listening. And do check out some of our other videos on our YouTube site at the Bath Centre for Pain Services.